Of Transform Your Body Fitness. I'm a physical therapist and a fitness coach, and today we're continuing our series on the ingredient corner. But instead of introducing you to something new, what I need to do, let's backtrack. Let's begin to talk about coconut oil again. We need to talk about coconut oil because it's been in the news, it's been on all over Facebook, getting some very mixed reviews, and I want to just try to help set the record straight. The reason all this is happening is June 16th, 2017, just a week or so ago, the American Heart Association released a study on regards to saturated fats and kind of really keying in on coconut oil. And their conclusion from that study is that you need to cut out saturated fats. You need to shift towards using polyunsaturated fats as well as monounsaturated fats in order to reduce your cholesterol, and that will in turn reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease. And all of that on the surface sounds like very good sound advice. But I will tell you, unfortunately, they play you as the public that you are a stupid consumer. Somebody that doesn't know really what is good for you, and I find it to be appalling. I find it to be incredibly misleading. I find it as a healthcare professional that I'm shocked that an institution such as the American Heart Association, who has an attentive audience, is really misleading you to a point of, unfortunately, this is just one more thing that you can kind of see that here's another institution that is driven by money because they are funded by big companies, manufacturers, and pharmaceutical companies. This is really where their information is driven towards. So what I need to do is I want to give you some information, some facts that you may not already have that can help you to make better educated choices as far as whether you include saturated fats in your diet or not. But we need to start with, first of all, saturated fats are not the bad guy. And unfortunately, for many, many years, they've been given a black eye. Because saturated fats, yes, will increase cholesterol levels. And this is where the whole mix-up tends to happen. Cholesterol does not increase your chance of cardiovascular disease. In fact, many, many studies are now coming out. It's not due to cholesterol. It's due to inflammation of your body that is increasing the risk of cardiovascular disease. And what increases inflammation are the manufactured processed foods, especially sugar. And that's what needs to, be given good advice about getting rid of those things in our diet. But of course, there's too many things, too many companies that are making too much money to tell you to cut those things out. Now, we need cholesterol in our body. And again, this is the misleading piece of information that's out there. You need cholesterol, for example, it helps to build the membranes of the cell walls of every single cell in your body. So if you want your cells to work properly, you need to have cholesterol into your body. It also helps to make your hormones, the estrogen and the testosterone. It helps your brain to function properly. Notice that there's a lot of increased Alzheimer's. Did you know Alzheimer's is not due to old age? It's due to the fact that there's not enough cholesterol there. Again, this is what our society has been told to shift towards. And notice these are the problems now that are increasing. Did you know that you need cholesterol for your thyroid to function properly? Notice we have more obese people and more thyroid problems. You need it to have healthy joints. And in fact, there's a lot of studies that are being done now that arthritis is really due to not enough fat and therefore cholesterol. And it's the things that you need to make the enzymes that will be like anti-arthritis type of agents are not in your body. So arthritis is on the rise. Again, because it's inflammation. Inflammation is linked to all diseases, not just cardiovascular disease, but it's linked to all disease, arthritis being one of them. So these are the things that if you really, really pay attention to what these manufacturers are telling you, there's a reason they're telling you go towards the polyunsaturated and the monounsaturated fats, because they stand to make money. All right, so what are saturated versus these other kinds of fats? Saturated fats are more the natural things. They are your beef, your eggs, your cheese, yes, your coconut oil. So many of those kind of things, they are more natural. All your beefs, okay, all your creams, whole milk. So long we've been told not to eat butter and drink whole milk. But notice, as soon as you went to the advice of listening to non-fat, low-fat, all the problems started, because what they're adding in there are, again, sugars and fillers and artificial things. Stick to natural and you'll be okay. Now, as far as what are polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats, they are more your vegetable oils, and that's what they're trying to push you towards. Whereas if you stick more to the natural kinds of polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats, meaning the avocados, the nuts, the nut butters, fish, there's what's kind of called fatty fishes, which would be the tuna, which would be the salmons, the trouts, things like that. So those are the kind of fats. Stick to the natural kinds. Don't go towards processed food. It's the processed food that's killing us. Again, people are so afraid of butter. People are so afraid of whole milk. Don't be afraid of that. You don't want to drink it all day, but these are what is going to provide your body the good kind of fat that will make the cholesterol that your body needs to function healthy, optimally, normally. Now, as far as cholesterol has been given a really bad rap, especially when you go to get tested. Even the tests are wrong, because interestingly enough, back in 1981, the normal range for cholesterol was between 150 to 310 milligrams per deciliter. Now, you go to get your cholesterol taken in, and all of a sudden 200, the number 200 is considered high. See, what began to happen, the pharmaceutical companies had created a statin drug. And so within the range of the 150 to 310, they weren't able to have the doctors prescribe the statin drugs. So 200 is not high cholesterol, because see, back then when they did the range of the 150 to 310, they knew your body needs cholesterol to function optimally and to be healthy. So again, this is all, unfortunately, a horrible, horrible game that's being played on us, the American public, because then all of a sudden everybody's on statin drugs because everybody has approximately a level of 200 of cholesterol. And so what happens, you get all these side effects. Unfortunately, statin drugs are horrible for your neuromuscular system and neurological type of issues. All of these kind of issues are now on the rise because people are on statin drugs. It's really a shame that it has to come down to stuff like this, because really what you need to ask for when you go to get your cholesterol tested, your cholesterol needs to be tested in a way that gives you a ratio of your high density lipids versus your low density lipids. The high density lipids are the good guys, the low density lipids are the bad guys. And if you have a study done that will give you that ratio, the number you're looking for is 5 or less. And will saturated fats, will coconut oil raise your cholesterol? Yes, because they are increasing your high density lipids. There will be an increase of some of, yes, the bad guys, but if you increase the good guys, that's part of what the purpose and its function is to go after and attack the bad cholesterol or the bad fat, the bad guys. So you need enough of the good guys in your system. But if you're so worried about decreasing your cholesterol and you cut it out, you will have a low number of cholesterol. So you've done a good job. But what you've also done a good job on is messing up the rest of the systems of your body. You can't worry about decreasing your cholesterol so low, because then the good cholesterol is not there. And this is what you need to pay attention to. Be an educated consumer. So yes, coconut oil. Coconut oil has really been picked on in this study because it has 81% of its calories come from saturated fat. It's loaded with saturated fat, and it's good. That's why it's so good, because half of those calories that come from saturated fat contain what's called lauric acid. And lauric acid is like, it's almost like, I hate to give it that name, but it's almost like the miracle drug or the miracle property within a food. Lauric acid, first of all, it contains antimicrobial properties to it. So you could actually swish it around in your mouth and it'll clean and cleanse your teeth. It gets rid of all the bacteria out of your mouth. So if you have gum problems and gingivitis, it'll help get rid of all of those things. It just really, even topically, you could, if you have skin type of problems, you could rub it on your skin, and it's the antimicrobial properties of that lauric acid that will help get rid of all those kind of infections. Also, by consuming it, you can, it easily is a saturated fat that is easily broken down. That's the beauty of saturated fats. They're considered medium chain fatty acids, so they can be broken down very easily for your body to use, because your body was meant to use them. And when it breaks down, especially the coconut oil, it turns the coconut oil saturated fats into what are called ketones. And ketones get into the cells very easily and create energy. So whatever the cell is located in, so for example the brain, because they're doing a ton of studies of using coconut oil for the treatment of Alzheimer's. I did a video on this. If you missed it, I'll make sure I post that, because it's an important piece of information for people that have, or that if you know of people that have Alzheimer's, that really get them on coconut oil, because it turns that saturated fat into ketones, and that will give the brain, for example, the energy it needs to function properly, as well as if it's in other parts of the body, for these other systems to work properly. It also helps to increase metabolism, so it will help you to lose weight. Yes, it's a fat, but it will help you to lose weight if you're using it in the appropriate amounts. And especially the belly fat, it will help attack and get rid of. Also, it helps to decrease inflammation. So again, they're doing a lot of studies on people that have arthritis, and this is really an incredible type of a natural treatment to help get rid of arthritis pain, because again, all kinds of disease is linked to inflammation. These kind of products help to decrease the inflammation. So arthritis, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, all of those things will be helped by consuming saturated fat, and in particular coconut oil. So there was a study that was very interesting back in 1978, and it was done in Sri Lanka. It's an island in the tropics by Asia. And the interesting thing is they did a study, and they took about 207 people, and the ages ranged from 20 to like 83, and they took into account if the person smoked, if they had high blood pressure, what kind of things they ate in their diet, what kind of activity that they did. So there was a lot of variables. The interesting thing is, on average, out of those 207 people, on average, each person consumed about 120 coconuts in a year's time. And the interesting thing is, you would think, therefore, their cholesterol and their incidence for cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, strokes, and everything associated with what the American Heart Association is saying would happen. And there were none. There was a slight increase of their blood pressure, but that was the only thing. There was no problems with anything cardiovascularly wise, and they consumed a lot of coconuts. Now, fast forward, they updated the study, and they redid all those same variables. However, now what's introduced into their diet is the vegetable type of oils of the polyunsaturated fats and the saturated fats. What do you think has happened? Their increased rate of cardiovascular disease has now gone up. It's not because of the coconuts. It's because of what the American Heart Association is actually recommending. It's not that you need to worry about cholesterol. It's that you need to have saturated fat in your diet. You need to have it in the right amounts, and that will help your body operate properly. There's just some truth bombs here. And this is what I'm trying to get you to understand, is that it's buyer and consumer beware. If you eat the right foods and in the right amounts, you will be healthy. So even if you are eating cheese, even if you are eating red meat, even if you are eating whole milk, even if you are eating coconut oil, these are healthy kind of fats. You do need to limit your fat in your diet. You do need to have it in your diet. So it's about being responsible. It's about knowing. And so what my advice is, get in the know. Get into something that's going to help you to further the understanding of how much should be in your diet. And there's information out there. And I run a free clean eating group. I can help you out. So if you're interested, you can message me. But I just want to end with this. Don't be afraid of eating cheese. Don't be afraid of drinking whole milk. Stop throwing away your egg yolks. Start adding coconut oil to your diet. Start eating grass-fed beef. Start eating grass-fed butter. Eat wild-caught fish. These are the things that you should be consuming, along with other fruits, the veggies, and getting exercise. To me, that is good, sound advice, because you know what? It's about staying as healthy as you can for as long as you can. I hope this information helped clear up any misunderstandings. Use the advice in good health. Have a great day, everybody.